I was basically living in the back of the Marriott atrium yesterday. I was part of 3 Star Trek main programming panels yesterday. Yeah. They all had their own various moments. The middle one is William Shatner, and because it's William Shatner, who is, by the way, the ultimate fake it till you make it example, because he started out pretending to be in space, and then he actually went to space. I mean, it took like 50 years, but as long-term plays go, pretty good. He talked about the mycelial network in real life, not the one in Discovery. And so, like, Shatner dropped science on us from a great height, which we know is low Earth orbit. It was kind of amazing. When you hear someone who actually pretends to be in space talk about the Overton effect, go look it up. It's basically when the first time you go to space, when you come back, you essentially are depressed because you've seen the scale of the world, and you have a completely different perspective on the Earth when you return. And there's only about 600 people in the world that have ever had that experience. And then the before and after panels were Discovery and Strange New Worlds. And the Discovery panel has some extremely meaningful conversations about diversity and inclusion and acceptance. And as a moderator, you try not to cry on stage. And then the Strange New Worlds panel had just some of the sharpest comebacks. I now have a habit. My friend Joyce made a plushie microphone. So that if we have a drop the mic moment, that I don't actually damage Tech Ops equipment. I can hand the guest the plushie mic, because these are like bolted to the table, and they're very difficult to drop without like Joey yelling at me. And Anson Mount actually, like, I made a small faux pas somewhere, like I was about to say something and he was like trying to include Ethan Peck in the conversation. And I had a moment where I just like, crap, I almost just cut Spock off in a conversation. Ethan just grabs the mic and drops it. The fact that all of that kind of like happened to me in a day was just a bit overwhelming, but it kind of sums up the entire convention for me.
It's all about those small special moments that you can't really plan for, and that's what DragonCon is.
Yeah, we'll touch a little bit more about that at the end of the show. B, cosplay. We gotta hit some cosplay. What's your favorite costume you've seen so far?
You're gonna make me pick a favorite cosplay?
Okay, one of your favorites,
okay.
Right? Yeah.
I would say that the Star Trek the photo shoot. There was some amazing cosplays at the Star Trek photo shoot. Like people who just like went all out with prosthetics because it's such a commitment because of the heat and of course the rain. So I was really blown away by everyone who came out to the Star Trek photo shoot.
Yeah, I've got a few favorites, but the one that there's always that costume that it's not like the perfect costume, but it's the perfect costume. Concept wins over execution sometimes. So if you've seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, you know that some of the parallel characters that come into Marvel it doesn't work out so well for them. So there's a Mr. Fantastic walking around that is basically starting to be unwound by Wanda. Like he turns into basically like blue confetti. And so someone did a Mr. Fantastic costume that's just basically, it's the costume at the core and then it turns into blue streamers at all the perimeters and he just kind of walks around like this. And it was it broke me walking I was like, oh my God. Like I'm having a conversation with someone, I'm like, that's great. So again, there's just like thousands of hallway moments like that we've had over the weekend.
Not to mention the masquerade last night. Okay. Golden Hand Jamie in the pile of bricks.
Golden Hand Jamie in the pile of bricks. We're sitting there. I was watching in my room going, it's going to be the building, right? I mean, he can't do the building. He did the building. It's a pile of bricks with a golden hand sticking out of it. And it broke Tony. It's hard to break Tony on stage because Tony has been with the con forever and has seen everything. And it broke Tony. And I love moments like that, where the hosts are like, I can't even with this. And they just sort of reflect the audience back on them. The Nyan Cat, whoever on videography did the camera zoom on the Nyan Cat, 10 points to Gryffindor. There's just so many great moments on that one.
Oh, but we have an amazing guest. We should bring on our guest.
We talked about watching things in your room and the way you were getting into the room through your awesome cards issued by the hotel this year. If you were in the Hilton Marriott Hyatt, you got some cool key cards. And Andy Belanger is here to talk about us. How's it going?
How's it going, guys?
So Andy, is a artist who has worked with a lot of big name comics publishers. He does very intense action art, and he designed the hotel key cards. Do we get graphic for that? He's got them right here. Look at, and I was assured by Andy before the show that those robots are saving Atlanta and we're not destroying it.
Yeah, that's true. They are. Yeah.
I appreciate that, because the traffic here is bad enough as it is.
Andy, one thing I really loved about the art you did was how they work together as a collection, the way that they're framed up. And how much freedom did DragonCon give you when they asked you to create the art for the key cards?
They gave me pretty much all freedom. They said, hey, how about some robot monsters that would be like big kaijus in Atlanta? And I went, yeah, that's easy, no problem. Actually, when I designed it, the city I drew as one big long thing.
Yeah.
And then I kind of chopped it up and started drawing the robots and filling that in there. The middle robot is kind of a nostalgia guy. He's made up of his shoulder pads are from the Road Warriors, the wrestlers. Mm-hmm. He's got Megatron's gun. He's got like Voltron's feet. I think the sword is something. And then I'm pretty sure his head is RoboCop's head. So, yeah.
I did not even realize there were all those Easter eggs there.
Oh, yeah,
love
totally.
that.
I always like, when I'm drawing, especially something like this, it's always fun to sort of, make gags on the 80s stuff I was into.
So you're Voltroning your Voltrons just by like sucking in every media property you can, and then Voltroning the key cards into access to 3 hotels.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. The thing is, you're also doing a lot of work in mainstream comics. You're the artist for Vampirella, which is cool, and you do a WWE comic line. So you're a lead animator, but you also you actually wrestle.
Yeah. 7 years ago in Montreal, I had just moved to Montreal, and I was doing a lot of video game work for Ubisoft. Mm-hmm. And those guys on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights would go to live wrestling. And in Montreal, there's like so much live wrestling on the weekends, you can pretty much go every day. So I started going, and it was crazy, and it ignited this thing in me from when I was a kid watching Macho Man and, Ric Flair and all these kind of guys. So I would go and yell at the wrestlers, and it was very exciting. And then I started doing T-shirts, posters, and that kind of stuff. And then a guy by the name of Shane Hawk, who was a wrestler on Chikara, he was starting a school. So he's like, you're a big guy, come to the school. And as soon as I did my second practice match, I was hooked. And the first time you start wrestling in front of a few thousand people chanting your character's name, you are hooked for life.
So is Canadian wrestling fundamentally different than American wrestling? It's like, I'm sorry. Or is it kind of still the same sort of culture goes behind it?
No, it's pretty much the same, but with lumberjacks.
Yeah, it's big, it's heavy, it's wood.
Yeah, exactly. Our tag team champions are literally lumberjack guys. And they're mean.
Interesting.
Yeah. They're really good.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could make the whole show about wrestling, B.
No, we're supposed to be talking about art. Can we look at some more art, please?
All right, fine, we'll look at some art, whatever.
Oh.
All right, does that make you happy?
Oh, yeah, look, it's art.
About
art
wrestling.
about wrestling. Okay, I see where we're going here.
We'll still do this, yeah.
Well...
Yeah, that's some Lady Death and Hell Witch that Brian Polito just had me do the covers for they're 2 different covers, but you put them together, and it's pure wrestling with those guys. Yeah, it's part of me now. Like the comic I do right now is called Mother Trucker, and it's a space wrestling comic.
There's kind of like a gritty realism that reminds me of wrestling. So like, what kind of impact has wrestling had on like the intensity and the way that you create your comics and your work?
I try to bring that realism not only in the moves that you do in wrestling and the little beats that you do to get into them. I try to nail the beats of when you're getting into a body slam or you're getting into a suplex. There's a beat beforehand, so the other person maybe knows that they're gonna get crushed. So
spoiler alert.
Yeah.
They work some stuff out ahead of the match.
That's true, but I also crush them.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
So yeah.
Consensual crushing.
Yeah, my character's name is the animal Bob Anger, and he's kind of like this guy with a mask, and he's some sort of like beast from the woods, because if you have lumberjacks, you have to have some sort of Sasquatch.
Yeah, exactly.
Character.
You need. I live in the Pacific Northwest now, and so you have to have some Bigfoot rep going on.
Yeah, you've seen Bigfoot.
I'm not at liberty to say.
Okay.
So your work has so much energy and excitement. It's so intense and packed. We're going to show an artwork. I don't even have the words to describe this other than maybe Space Road Warriors. Please, I just need to know what the story behind this is.
So this is the comic series I'm on right now, and in 2019 I started a boutique publishing company called Lethal Comics. And this is Mother Trucker. And Mother Trucker is sort of like a Wonder Woman type character, and she's a space trucker who trucks throughout the galaxy looking for her long-lost kid and to become the champion of Truck-Off, which is like the WrestleMania of the Starways. So it's basically like Ice Truckers meets WWE in the 80s. So if, let's say, you have the contracts for Walmart, and you're trucking for Walmart and I want them, I'll roll up onside you and challenge you to a match for your contracts, and the back of our trucking rigs transform into rings, and we go out there and we wrestle, and if I beat you, I get your truck, your contract, and you go back into the unemployment line.
Well, I did the DragonCon hustle. I could take you.
Yeah, probably.
Man, unions are rough.
Oh, in space they're rough. Wow. Big time. Yeah.
So, that has almost an anime vibe to it. Like, it feels like if that was in Cowboy Bebop, it wouldn't feel out of place.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
But it's interesting because it's not like it feels like it's got that kind of crossover where you see a lot of the anime bleed over into the modern wrestlers. Like, a lot of those guys were Dragon Ball Z fans, for instance. They pull that into the anime inspiration of the wrestling that kind of feeds back into the anime. It seems like you've kind of mashed those both up into your work.
Yeah, that's sort of what I wanted to do, because now that I'm a pro wrestler, I really wanted to combine those worlds. And Kickstarter really helped us do that. Like, the second I started using Kickstarter, it exploded, and I was like, hey, maybe I don't need to work for Marvel and DC. I can just do this myself and write and draw whatever I want. And that's been the most exciting part of this whole blip that we've had for 2-3 years. I actually found a way to make my life better, more fun.
Cool. Well, I appreciate that. Thanks for getting us off to an intense start this morning.
Oh, yeah. Does it feel intense?
And Andy,
No.
yeah, I didn't need this. I could have just come in here and have this conversation and saved myself a couple of bucks. Okay, $7. All right, but Andy, thank you again for stopping by, and appreciate you being on the Late Show.
Thanks, DragonCon. I love you.
Woo! And let's calm things down a little bit. On a calmer, less intense note, children's costuming workshop happened, I believe, yesterday, and we sent one of our segment crews over there. So let's see how that turned out.
Hi, this is Will with DragonConTV. We are here in the Hilton with the Children's Costuming Workshop. This is the Swords and Saber edition, and this is super exciting. Let's go check it out. We're here with Mira to talk about the Children's Costuming Workshop. Hi, Mira.
Hey, how are you?
You know, I am doing really well. This looks so exciting. There are a ton of kids out there and adults ready to get into this room. What's so special about this event?
Oh, this is a great event. This is the Children's Costuming Workshop. This happens every Saturday, every year at DragonCon. And this year, we are teaching them to unleash their inner royal by learning how to be little princes, princesses, knights, champions, and they get to make shields, crowns, and swords. And then we're gonna take them to the other room and teach them all the manners and techniques that go with that.
Can you tell me what type of materials you are going to be using to help these kids create their dream today?
Of course, the costuming track here at DragonCon really wants to help teach people not just how to make costumes, but also how to be the character. So the materials that we're using today to teach them to make the costumes are actually the children's version of what adults would use. So we're using EVA foam, the craft foam that you can find at most hobby stores in 3mm and 4mm. They're gonna get a shield that they get to trace onto this paper, because this will be the back that they get to stabilize it with. Then they'll make a handle and an emblem to put on the front of it, and that's their shield. Same thing with their crown, and they get these wonderful little gems to stick on and make it their own. And then we're gonna show them how to make swords. Now these are pool noodles wrapped in duct tape, and they get to draw anything they want on the handle. So they can make it a lightsaber, they can make it a knight sword, and then we're gonna teach them how to use them.
That sounds really, really cool.
It's a lot of fun. I love doing these children's workshops. There is nothing better than watching a young one learn how to do a new skill and then watching them interact and just have so much fun with it.
That sounds wonderful. Mira, thank you for joining us and thank you for hosting this. We can't wait to see what happens.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me this year. I love DragonCon. This place is so much fun.
Lucy just finished going through the workshop. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
What was your favorite part that you got to do here at the workshop?
I got to put these gems on it.
So what made you decide to do a crown today?
'Cause I wanted to be, a princess with a shield.
So a warrior princess.
Yeah.
I'm here with Heather and Malcolm, who just completed the workshop. Did you all have a good time?
Yes,
What was your favorite thing to make? What did you make here?
a lightsaber.
We are having a great day here at the costuming track, and it's not over yet. The kids are still in line, the parents are still in line, and they can't wait to check out the Swords and Sabers edition of the Children's Costuming Workshop. We hope you've had a great time, and we hope you have a great con. See you soon.
No volunteers were harmed in the making of that foam sword segment. That I feel a little calmer now, and my heart rate is down, and that's good because if yours is too, you can still give blood at DragonCon. The DragonCon blood drive is open now until 3 p.m. There is a need for blood. You can truly help and save a life. Also, you get a free T-shirt. That's always a good way to do that. Information is on your screen now. This is in the motor level lobby of the Hyatt, which is basically the basement, all the way down and over. If you're not able to give today, if your alcohol blood content, the other way around is a little off, you're not feeling well, just give blood somewhere else during the year when you're rested up and healthy. But if you're able to give today, volunteers are on site. They were the only people I think that got here earlier than I did. I was behind them on the escalator as the second round of nurses were coming in to help with the blood draws.
Our charity partner, Open Hand, and they've had a lot of events throughout the weekend to raise funds and support their mission of showing love to the community. And of course, the best way to show love is through food. So we still have some events going on today. It's still Monday. The con is not over until it's over. Brian, tell me about some of those events.
A fun way to give to Open Hand Atlanta is the charity auction. Our charity auction is a blast. If you've got a couple hours to kill today, you just want to kind of sit somewhere, do some shopping without actually getting up. If you like the fun of an auction and bids and cool things, like we get movie props, we get screen used materials, we get one-offs. We literally had someone autograph and sign the jacket off their back one year. Tony Gow is going to be hosting that. It runs from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the Hyatt Grand Hall C, which is in one of the lower levels. We've got some pictures up of some of the art and items that are in the auction today. Again, the artists have donated so many amazing pieces of work, and that is going to support our charity partner, and those totals go into the $100,000. And remember, we match that, so anything that you donate online or drop into the buckets in the room or donate at the auction goes to DragonCon's annual charity match.
And then, of course, while you're down there, you got to pick up the coloring book, which is so amazing. Oh, and what I did with my coloring book is I took it around and the artist signed it for me.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Limited edition.
I know, it's like so fancy now. I'm not sharing mine. So what
No,
you
that's
really,
not going to your kids, is
you
it?
have to spend $20 because there's one for you and then, one that you can actually share because I'm not sharing mine.
Yeah. And there's too much DragonCon to DragonCon, honestly, and we keep sending Will to cover the bits that I'm not able to go to. So we're going to do another segment. This was, so Will, by the way, if you don't know, is the host of our sister show, DragonCon Update, which is the one that actually runs in the evening. I know, we're bad at naming things. But we sent him over to the vendor hall in America's Mart Building 2 to check out a special event, the Lego Pokeball Speed Build Challenge, and he caught them all.
Hi, this is Will with DragonConTV. I'm here with Emily Nice. We are at the Bricker Builds booth here in the vendor hall. Emily, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Will?
I'm doing great. Your booth here is amazing.
Thank you.
Can you tell me what is Bricker Builds?
Yeah, Bricker Builds is a Lego-built sculpture company. We give you the kits so that you can build these amazing sculptures all around our booth. Come check us out.
These pieces are just amazing. I'm seeing full-size figures. I'm seeing heads. I'm seeing stars from Mario. I mean, this is crazy. How did you come up with this?
Our owner actually came up with all of this. He built something in college that made it so that he could take a 3D model of anything and turn it into Lego. And then we've just evolved from there and found more and more fandoms that we've wanted to represent.
That is awesome. How do you build these pieces? Can someone buy the completed piece and just move along?
Unfortunately, no. We want you to have that experience of building these impressive and amazing models. So when you come and you buy from Bricker Builds, we're going to give you everything you need, like the instructions, a light kit if it's needed, all of those Legos in step-by-step directions so that you can build something like this and you get to have that ownership.
Today I heard, though, you have something special going on. You've been doing this the whole con. You have a Lego speed build? What the heck is that?
Yeah, I'm so excited about this event. It gets people coming and showing off how amazing they are with Lego. They get a Pokeball, and they have all of the pieces that they need, and we give them our instructions. So they come in for free. They don't have to pay anything to put their name in. Then if they get drawn one of the four, they get to build fastest. Whoever builds fastest takes home their Pokeball.
And you have this happening again tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
All con lawn at 1 p.m. each day, so they can sign up starting at about, what, 12:50?
Yeah, 12:50. You can just come up and say, hey, I'm here for the speed build, and we would be excited to show it to you and get you ready for it.
Thank you, Emily. Let's check out the speed build. Let's see what's going on.
Let's do it.
What's up, guys? If you're walking by right now, we are about to enter into the quick build competition. The speed build competition, not quick build, the same thing. To win a free Pokeball made out of Lego. So you guys will be given all the bricks you need in order to build this Pokeball. You will also be given instructions on how to build it. And it is whoever can build it fastest. So we will be taking contestants for the next 5 minutes. Then we'll be drawing 4 lucky people to compete. So enter now. We'll see who the best builder is.
They are only 1 minute away from starting, and this crowd is building. Well, they will be, literally.
Give our contestants a round of applause, please.
Yeah.
Brielle was so
Upside down. So Jim wins.
I'm here with our winner, Jim Brannon, who just won the Lego Speed Build. Jim, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good.
So I saw there was a little touch and go for a while. You had a couple pieces. What happened?
I messed up and I had to disassemble one of the sides and remake it, so.
Yet you still beat the other competitors. That is awesome. So what are you going to do with your newfound Pokeball?
I'm probably going to put it on the shelf.
That's awesome, Jim. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
All
Have a
right.
great con.
Hey, thank you very much.
That's it for us here at the booth, but we've got lots going on the whole weekend. Don't forget to stop by if you want your own Pokeball. You got to catch them all. Have a great night.
Will is my favorite human.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't throw the Lego Pokeball because it does the opposite of what a Pokeball does. So it's sort of the anti-Pokeball. All right, let's talk about awards. We had the Dragon Awards last night. That is DragonCon's Literary and Media Awards. That is a fan-nominated fan vote system where the votes are open, I believe, till Saturday of con. We're not going to be able to go over all the winners today. It's a large group It's like a kind of geeky version of a summer reading list from school because you've got some homework to do before you come to con every year.
You're right. Actually, as soon as the ballots dropped, I started adding books to my playlist. I read Kat Rambo's "You Sexy Thing," who we had on the show yesterday.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, Nnedi Okorafor. I read one book, and then I was like, okay, the next 4 books are just going to be more Nnedi. And then I also had a chance to read A Dark and Starless Forest, which was the young adult literature winners.
Nice.
So we made a quick graphic of some of the winners if you want to check those out. You have time. You could just look. I've got a 5-hour drive home. Add one of these to your Audible, and it's a great way to close out con.
Yeah, it's nice to see Leviathan Falls up there because we had a bunch of the Expanse guests today, or this week, by the way. By the way, just as a programming note, the Expanse panel for 10 a.m. is canceled today because I guess Holden had to go out and get some coffee, and that took longer than he was expecting. But it's great to see that our guests are getting credit for their work. And I'm just thrilled with the pickup that the Dragon Awards have gone. And have you seen the actual award itself? This big glass monster. It's so beautiful. All right, we're also going to talk a little bit more about art because who got the official T-shirt this year? And the crowd goes wild. Several people. Official T-shirts for DragonCon, one of my favorite things. And you did an interview with the designers of this year's shirt.
Yeah, I got a chance to talk to them. They're absolutely amazing. So let's check it out.
Hi, it's B with DCTV, and I'm here in the art show with Fantasy's favorite couple, Annie Steggerard and Justin Gerard. They designed the amazing artwork on the official 2022 DragonCon t-shirt. So I'm here to talk to them tonight about their collaboration and what they're doing here at Con. How are you tonight?
Good.
Good, wonderful, thank you. Excellent. So Justin, your work is just action and adventure. Annie, your work is all grace and elegance. How did that come together when you were working on the t-shirt design?
Well, I started with the drawing. So poor Annie was sort of trapped into chaos and mayhem, and then was sort of having to do the best she can to bring the grace and elegance that is so endemic of her work to the image. It was a lot of fun. It was obviously very challenging for her. I had a great time.
Oh, you were like, okay, drawing done. It's all you now,
Yeah,
Annie. The deadline is all you. Well, talk to me about the painting process. Your paintings are, I think the word I want to use is luminous.
Thank you.
Do you use glazing with your oil paints?
I do. I start with an underpainting, and I slowly glaze the color over the top. It takes about 30 layers to be finished with the painting, but I feel in the end it gives you a very more in-depth and three-dimensional form.
And so y'all actually had a panel to talk about, and you were literally doing live demos. You were showing painting and showing how to draw. We got some tips from you. So how did that panel go?
Oh, it was wonderful. We had a great turnout. We painted a little dragon, and Justin talked about our studio safety practices and just generally about oil painting.
I'm going to close out our interview today. I want to ask, what is your favorite DragonCon memory?
Meeting each other.
Yeah.
Did you really meet at DragonCon?
We had booths over there across from one another, and I was like, oh, who is that? She had some amazing art, a giant painting of Odysseus, Odysseus' ship, and Scylla and Charybdis. I was like, oh, I got to go talk to her.
Well, there you have it, folks. Everything awesome happens at DragonCon.
So much going on at this convention.
It really is. And they were amazing. You saw Justin draw a dragon. He did that for us in 2 minutes. And was like, here you go. So I get to take that home today.
Yeah, I didn't bring it here, but at least we got it on camera and somewhere tucked safely in your bags.
Hidden. No one else can have it.
I think this is probably a kind of good note to close on because what you were talking about, what we kind of thematically hit every single time is that there's just so much con. And a lot of time on the shows, because the show is volunteer run, we talk a lot about what we do for con, and I think maybe we don't spend enough time talking about what con does for us.
No, you're right, because I work so much over the weekend. Sometimes I think oh, I haven't had a chance to get over to the vendor hall. Not that I missed that line, but it's all these little moments that don't happen anywhere else. It's getting to have a conversation with an amazing author like Kat Rambo, and she gave me a pen because I had read the book. Oh, my favorite human. What about you, Brian?
Well, so I've talked before about being a Star Trek fan, and that like Star Wars and Star Trek both kind of came into my world when I was 5. And that was a long time ago. But it influenced everything I've done since then. It made me want to be an engineer. It made me want to volunteer for this convention. It kind of shaped how I look at the world. And there's the concept in Star Trek from infinite diversity and infinite combinations, which is a Vulcan philosophy that gets carried through all of the shows. And what I was highlighting earlier, where I had these 3 Star Trek experiences yesterday in the same room, within 6 hours of each other, that were insanely different, moving, touching, comedic, life-changing for a lot of people, world-changing for a person who, Kirk is one of the reasons that I got into speech recognition in college. He's the reason I got out of it, because it was never going to work as well as it did for Kirk. And then I told a story on Friday about how 6 years after I made that decision, I saw William Shatner at a tech conference. And in the Q&A, when he asked me why I asked him a question about speech recognition, and he told me that it would never work. And he asked me why I didn't fix it, and I said I switched jobs. And he told me that was a good choice. So the man I introduced on stage yesterday in the atrium 20 years ago, almost to this day, validated the way I have run my tech career. But the thing to remember is that just because you're 100% to DragonCon doesn't mean you have to like 100% of DragonCon. There's hallway conversations all the time about, like, I think Discovery is the worst thing in the world. I never liked Enterprise, or whatever. That's fandom, and that happens. It doesn't mean that we don't like the culture. Like, I will give you some examples of things that I actually don't like at DragonCon. And I'm not talking about, like, lines and the price of Starbucks and that sort of thing. I mean, I actually never got into DS9 because I was watching Babylon 5 at the time. There's nothing wrong with the show. It didn't hit me that right way. I like Strange New Worlds maybe a little bit better than I like the original series. I don't like ghost hunting shows. Not because it doesn't fit my world of spiritual belief. I think a ghost hunting show is a terrible home renovation show. If you watch an episode of Good Bones and an episode of Ghost Hunters, the first 15 minutes are the same. They walk into a house and everything is weird and it creaks, there's weird smells and noises, and electrical weirdness happens. It's just in Ghost Hunters, those idiots don't fix the house, and that's just rude.
So, Brian, I actually like home improvement genre, so I'm actually wondering, is there an untapped genre that I need to get into now?
Yeah, there's absolutely an untapped genre. It's go by the table for Ghost Hunters and give them a level and an outlet tester. And it will change their lives. And then maybe Discovery Plus won't cancel so many shows. Different talk. So the thing that I learned, the thing that I latched onto here is just because you don't like it doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. And I had that worldview probably at this table maybe 15 years ago. And I wish more people carried that outside of here and into the rest of the world. And I think that what fandom does is allows us to explore the strange new worlds and to pick through it and have conversations about what we do and don't like. And as long as we keep that as personal choice, and we have this buffet to choose from, and some of us don't want the gluten, and some of us will eat all the gluten y'all left behind, and some of us will argue about, is it milk if it doesn't have a nipple? Which I had a philosophical conversation with a Starbucks barista about that once when they offered me soy milk, and I had to tip extra after that because it was a little weird. As long as you get that idea that you can be 100% into DragonCon, but you don't have to do 100% of it. You don't have to like it all, but you can appreciate the fact that it exists and it is for everyone, and they get to pick the way they experience it. Whether it's sitting in the room watching this idiot in his off-brand Hawaiian shirt, or getting out and walking the halls. You want photos? You want selfies? Great. You want autographs? Great. You don't? Great. It is the thing that we all offer out to the world for what we love and what we do. And then you take from that what you will, and you don't have to discard the rest. You can just leave it for someone else. And take that with you as you leave. Take that back into the world, and hopefully that energy brings you back here 2023 ready to do it again. So for the folks on the internet, this will be the last time you see my face on The Late Show. I'll be on a panel at 1 with some Warehouse 13 friends who I haven't got to see for about a year. For the folks in the room, the small number of you, we're going to run a couple of segments. Think of yourselves as a test audience for our producer, Mauricio, who has been planning the show for months and has had folks like literally overnight. While we were doing the woo, we survived the masquerade, there were 3 people sitting behind us with headphones on editing some of the stuff you're going to watch. So for the folks online, we will see you again next year. But more of you will probably see me than I'll see you because that's how television works. For the folks in the room, you get a sneak peek on some stuff you may see on the internet or channel later. And from everyone else who is furiously packing your bags, come back next year, stay healthy, stay safe, and bring what you love so that we can reflect upon it. B, thank you very much.
Thank you, Brett.
Volunteers, thank you very much. And DragonCon, have a safe one.